Join us on Geek Blood, the show you can't ignore. Ray and Kevin diving deep into all things galore. Comic book, movie, sci-fi, and action thrill. Reviewing new TV shows, we keep it real, real. Reminiscing the attitude era, wrestling at its peak. Nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, memories we seek. Pineapples for our rings, a unique touch. Geek culture in our blood, we love it so much. Geek Blood forever, we love it so much. Geek Blood, where we talk about it all, from superheroes to wrestlers. We stand tall, Ray and Kevin, the dynamic duo in sight. Geek Blood, shining brighter, shining bright. Did you hear about Pluto? Let's messed up right. Geek Blood, taking you on a nostalgia flight. From movies to TV, we cover it all. Join us every week, we'll have a ball. Shuffle.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. How we doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Watched a lot this week. Let's jump right into it. Last weekend was WWE WrestlePalooza.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to watch any of that?
How did you watch it? Was it on regular ESPN or?
No, it was not. It was on ESPN Unlimited, the new service that they started.
Oh, okay.
It's $30 a month. Right now they are running a deal if you do want to use it for a year. $30 a month for a year, and it includes with ads Disney and Hulu. $38.99 without ads for Disney and Hulu. It's basically a glorified version of ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
With live content, and that includes all of the ESPN channels. So if there's ever any ESPN exclusive, I don't know what sports you watch on ESPN now that are exclusive on there, but they would be on ESPN Unlimited if you were to watch that. If you didn't have cable,
Yeah.
Do they have like Thursday night football? What do they have on ESPN now?
It might be Monday nights.
Monday night.
I think it's Monday nights. Thursdays Amazon Prime. Sundays NBC and Peacock.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what the streaming platform is anymore. I know Nesson.
We did just get a Fubo TV, so that has ESPN.
Okay, yeah,
that's the best
that
service
includes
to
it.
get if you want sports. So as far as streaming cable services,
yep,
so
that's what I heard too. I got this just because Hulu and Disney are included for $38.99 a month, and for a year. I figured wrestling pay-per-views are worth it. This one, a lot of people were complaining about it. I didn't mind it. Opened up with John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, which was another squash match. A lot of people were complaining about why waste that match for John Cena's 7th to last match in the WWE ever. But I know why. I mean, just nostalgia-wise, I know why John Cena chose Brock as an opponent. And going forward, he's pushing Brock for future runs, whatever Brock's going to end up doing. I understand business-wise. I think everybody on the internet should understand that too. But people complain about anything.
Yep, they sure do.
I'm sure a lot. But and CM Punk, AJ Lee, another great match. Build up for 10, 12 years since AJ left. The big comeback, teaming up with her husband. It was a good story.
They weren't married when he left, were they? Or were they just dating?
They were
dating.
They were dating, and I think it went public maybe a year prior to that. But no, they had that big storyline with Daniel Bryan, where they were kind of fighting over her a year before, a year or two before. But, overall, good platform. ESPN. They treat it like a real sport. Unfortunately, I mean, it is fake, but there's a lot of big event stuff that happened in this. It's like it just felt like a big event, especially the Brock Lesnar and John Cena match. John Cena came out with like 36 children surrounding him.
So is he
They
a good
looked
guy
like the
again?
minions. He's a good guy. He turned
Okay.
good during SummerSlam.
That's what I thought.
Basically,
I saw that. So okay.
the heel run was great.
Yep.
But John Cena wants to end a
He
face.
had to go out. He had to go out.
He had to.
Yeah.
He had to. I wouldn't be surprised if his last match is in December.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the story of that too? It was like he wanted it in Boston,
Right.
and they had a bidding war for it, and
Really? I
Boston
didn't know
lowballed them. Yeah, Boston lowballed them. Washington D.C. is the one that actually gave WWE a big chunk of money to show up for their last match. I think it's a Saturday night main event on December 13th.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not going to be in Boston, unfortunately. But his last Raw, I believe, is at the Fleet Center in November. So he's going to be at the Fleet or whatever it is now. But the Garden, I guess. So yeah, John Cena is on his farewell run. That's basically why I got ESPN Plus. I want to see this. It's the kind of the last standing nostalgia we have for wrestling. Kind of after we grew up, we were in our adulthood. John Cena became huge in the last 20 years. But I just want to see him go out, and especially with everything Peacemaker, just John Cena all the time now in my life. So
he could be the first mega star to actually stay retired when he retires, because everyone just came back. Even we talked about last night. Even Brett came back. I mean, as far as retiring without being forced to by injury, he might be the first one to ever actually stay retired. Which is happening.
Yeah, his whole goal is just to be done by the time he's 50. I mean, that's why he set this particular time period to be the end of the run. But I would not be surprised if Triple H talks him into being a part of WrestleMania, because I would see John Cena's final match taking place at WrestleMania, even after the whole hubbub of him being done in December. I could see that swerve happening because wrestling is a whole bunch of swerves built into one culmination of WrestleMania.
I thought the whole him being done in December was because they were going to be in Boston. That's why he was going to be done in December.
Right. That's what I thought too. But they all they got to do is back up the Brinks truck to his house, and I could see WrestleMania being a big, huge payday.
I don't know if money would. I could see him being like a referee or something, but I don't know. Money clearly wouldn't be a factor because it's not like the guy's hurting.
You know the rumor of one of his last opponents. Did you hear about that, about Edge?
I did.
Yes.
He had on Twitter today.
His contract ends on October 2nd on AEW. And the last time he was on television a couple nights ago, he said, "I got to leave. I got to go. There's too much crazy shit happening here." He's talking to Christian. And speculation. Well, he's filming the new season of Percy Jackson. I believe that's what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He's on that show. But the speculation is that he is going to leave AEW and come back to the WWE in December and be the final match with John Cena. I could also see that being a pay-per-view match at WrestleMania too.
I feel like his last match has to be Randy. I just, in my heart, I kind of want it to be. I know
he already had his final match. Yeah,
I feel like it should have been tagged with Randy.
Yeah, it should have been. You're right. Yeah, because that was tagged as every match that he's had with these big people.
Yeah, his
Randy was the last time they're fighting. Mm-hmm. CM Punk the last time they're fighting. So so that's wrestling talk. We'll talk about John Cena's final run going forward. He's got like 7 dates left. Mm-hmm. So SummerSlam, I know they're going to Perth, Australia, the big match with AJ Styles. Looking forward to that. AJ makes everybody look good. So we'll talk about that hopefully coming up. I want to talk about this briefly because I only watched 3 episodes, but Into the Void, metal documentary. It's on Hulu. I love that they're doing this. I hope they do it with Dark Side of the Ring. This is done by the people that did Dark Side of the Ring. They made a deal to stream it on Hulu this time. And it's all 8 episodes released all at once on September 22nd. And it's all a metal documentary where they bring in bands from the 80s, metal bands, talking about stuff like Dark Side of the Ring, controversial stuff that happened back then. And a few things. The 2 that I really was more interested in was the Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne's band because of the way he died. I watched that. That was episode 1. That was very, very good. Sharon Osbourne was on there. This is obviously done before Ozzy had passed, but they talked a lot about his influence on Ozzy, just having an influence, more of a classical mind. He was in his early 20s when he died of a plane crash, and he had more of a classical mind for music. In fact, at the end of his life, right before he passed, he was trying to get lessons for classical guitar. On top of everything, and if you ever heard him and watched him play videos, especially this summer, they played a lot of it when Ozzy died. Archival video of him performing. He's nuts on the guitar, and just hearing him on Ozzy's first album, our first two albums, is incredible. He's one of the best guitar players. He's one of those guys that died way too young. It's kind of like Biggie. Like Biggie only had 2 mainstream albums, solo albums, and you're always wondering, he died so young. What would his career have been if he had lived a full life and not been gunned down or not been killed the way he was killed? Mm-hmm. Same with Randy Rhoads. He had just a couple of mainstream albums with such a great body of work. You're wondering where would he have gone from there? Where would that guitar sound evolve to? Would he have been a Eddie Van Halen type guy that everybody looks on now? I mean, everybody looks on him now, but would he have been past Eddie Van Halen, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to. The other episode was Dimebag Darrell. He was gunned down in 2003, 2004. And that episode was episode 8, and that was a great episode too. They brought in a lot of the band, talking about whoever is left of the band, talking about, because Dimebag and his brother were in the band. Both of them have since passed, Vinnie Paul and him. But yeah, great documentary. This is on Hulu. Into the Void: Life and Death of Heavy Metal in Heavy Metal. Yeah, it's really good. In a couple weeks, the Ozzy documentary comes out. I cannot wait for that. So continue that story a little bit later. And while I was on Hulu, the next suggested video for me to watch was this documentary called Ruby Red Handed: Stealing America's Most Famous Pair of Shoes. We didn't talk about this on the podcast. Maybe we did. I don't remember. About a year and a half ago, maybe two years ago, they found a pair of ruby red slippers that had been stolen 2 decades before. They found them. There was a big FBI sting, I remember, at the time. They ended up finding them. Well, this documentary is about that. They started filming this in 2018. What happened was, some guy who owns a lot of memorabilia from Hollywood bought these in the 70s. One of the pairs of the ruby red slippers, there's 4 known to be in existence from the Wizard of Oz. He bought this pair of slippers and lended them out to the Judy Garland Museum somewhere out in the Midwest. And they had no security at this museum. They were on display. And one night, somebody breaks in and steals them. They have no idea where they went. This is back in 2005 when they were on loan to the museum. Cut to 2018, the FBI is in on the case, and they're finally catching the guy who they think has stolen them. And the big news back in 2023, which was all over the news back then, a couple of years ago, is they found him. They actually found the guy, arrested them. They were older guys. And they actually found the slippers, and they went on auction. I think they became the most selling memorabilia item of all time. I was like, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was in the dozens of millions of dollars. But it's just a great story. The documentary talked all about that, where they came from, and what the shoes are made out of sequence. They're not actually ruby. They're actually made of like a plum color, but they showed it better on screen as ruby. Really good documentary. It's on Hulu if you want to watch it. Love documentaries like this. Kind of takes one story and dives into it deeper to find more about it. And I thought it was really good Hollywood history. Also brings up Ken Anderson, who is comedian Louis Anderson's brother, and how he was a thief. And they thought he was the one that stole the slippers back 20 years ago. And Louis Anderson, they even talk about it in the documentary. In his stand-up act, he's since passed, but in his stand-up act, he used to joke about how his brother was a thief, and he used to be in his act, so it was a known thing. But yeah, good documentary. This is on Hulu. Briefly going to mention this because I have not finished it because I was reading comic books this week. Marvel Zombies came out. I watched 2 episodes. If you like What If, you're going to like this. It's just a continuation of that. Basic same story. Continuation of that one zombie episodes in season 1, where zombies have taken over the Avengers, and there's a few staggering members of the Avengers that are trying to fight their way to freedom without being killed. And there's a few people that get killed along the way, a few survivors, so on and so forth. Zombie zombie lore, zombie movies, same tropes, everything in this. So far so good. If you like What If, same animation. So yeah, pretty good, pretty decent. I did want to bring that up. I haven't finished it, but I'll probably finish it soon. But we did have a finale this week. You're not caught up. We're not going to get into it a lot, but Alien Earth did ended on a cliffhanger or a continuation. Not really a cliffhanger, but a continuation of where this could go next season. We may get into that. We may not. But yeah, this has basically been the story of Peter Pan brought into the alien world the whole season. Yep. It's kind of crazy how this creator did that, whoever created the show. But yeah, it went right to the end like that. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's all on Hulu. If anybody wants to watch that, the whole entire series is now on there, all 8 episodes. So yeah. And you watched The Long Walk.
Yes.
You went to the movie theaters, and this movie I do want to watch based off of a Stephen King short story. Am I correct?
Yep. I heard it's very different from the short story. But it's basically in this like alternate timeline. It seems like maybe the U.S. lost World War II, or maybe, I don't know, something happened, but it seems like it kind of takes place in like the 60s. But it's really about the relationship between Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, who's a fucking hell of an actor in this movie, who we've seen in a few things. He's always been good.
Licorice Pizza was his debut, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, that's where I've seen him. Yep, he's awesome in Licorice Pizza. Yeah, the acting gene got passed down to him in a big way.
Nice.
He's going to be one to watch. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the Jesse Plemons vibe of just a really good like everyday man type actor. But him and the kid from Romulus, Johnston, I think is his last name.
Who we both love in that movie, Alien Romulus.
This is great because he actually gets to act, and Romulus, because he's an AI, he kind of has to act like he's autistic.
Robotic.
That's robotic. So he doesn't really, and he's great in that role. He's fantastic in Alien Romulus. Like, he was the standout of that movie by far. Him and Kelly Slaney. But in this, he actually gets to act, and he is exceptional. Like, he's one of my favorite performances this year. Up there with Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. I hope they both get nominated, but he's fantastic. But it's basically about their relationship as they become friends on this walk. And I think they walk like close to 400 miles in a couple days. And it is graphic. Like, it's from the first time one of the people, because when they stop for a certain amount of time, they get 3 warnings. And on the 3rd warning, they get shot in the head. From the first time the first person is shot, it's a horror movie, but not like in your typical like slasher. Like, it's just like things that happen to them along the way. It's a great horror movie. Keeps you on the edge of your toes, on the edge of your seat. Really suspenseful. And the ending is great. I'd say this movie is a solid 4.5 for me.
Wow.
It was the only movie I've seen this year when, as soon as I exited the theater, I put it on my top 10 for the year on Letterboxd after Sinners was the first. Those are the only 2 on my top 10 right now on the year. I can't wait to watch it again. It's very much reminded me of Civil War in ways. I think it does a slightly better job of getting its point across in Civil War. But it's very similar to Civil War if you like Civil War. And
where's weapons?
This one's way more.
Where's weapons? Where's weapons on your list?
I'm gonna rewatch it before I put it on there. That's gonna.
Okay.
I'm like 90% sure that's gonna end up in my top 10. But like we were talking about 2 weeks ago off pod, there's still like 7 or 8 movies that all have a chance coming out this year in the last couple of months to end up on my top 10. Like, the end of the year is loaded. Weapons will probably find a spot. I'm guessing Superman will find a spot because how much I've watched that goddamn movie. And I got the 4K the other day and it looks fantastic.
Awesome.
But yeah, Fantastic Four probably has a shot at being there. We'll see. But
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Go see it.
Yeah, there's a lot. We got 3 months left, and there is a lot that still needs to come out. We went over the list off pod. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cannot wait to see that. I cannot wait to do the final ranking of the end of the year too. That's why I asked you about weapons, where you're at so far. But Gen V episode 4, you're not caught up.
Right.
But the show is great.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Were awesome.
And Yeah, and this is no exception to that. It's very good.
Can't wait to watch that. Here.
But the one thing we need to talk about, and all our prayers were answered in a weird, sadistic kind of way. Peacemaker,
yes,
episode 6 came out last night, and this is appointment television, like out of the 90s when you were waiting for television on the TV guide. This is where you were at your TV at 8:30, just counting the minutes until 9 o'clock. We knew episode 6. The press had not seen it. Everybody was on a blank slate. So everybody was watching it the same way we were. But all the speculations have been there. We've talked about them on the podcast, all the theories. Starts off with the 11th Street kids going to look for Chris through the quantum unfolding chamber. And all of them leave, including Adebayo, Economos, Harcourt. Everybody goes through the chamber and goes into the other dimension. And they're trying to find Chris. They're, of course, in Chris's family mansion in the other universe. And they're kind of suspicious from the get-go. It's just kind of weird. Everything's strange. Harcourt especially. Like, everything is fucking weird in this universe. Going forward the next 35 minutes, it gets weirder. Rick Flag Jr., the big cameo of this episode, meets up in a prison with the first Superman cameo, the big Superman cameo, one of the big 3 of Lex Luthor in prison. We knew that, like you mentioned off pod to me, probably going to get a Superman character, at least one these next 3.
Yeah. I know who's in next week, which you could tell, but yeah.
Yeah, you can tell.
I think it'll be a bigger
Superman.
Yep.
Yes, Superman will probably be the last one, whether it be in this new universe, a darker Superman, or Superman in the new universe, in the regular universe. But, Flag meets Lex, and they make a deal, and that's kind of where it leaves off, and that must be one of the things that's going to lead off into the next movie, possibly. Who knows? But he's obviously spreading breadcrumbs. And my favorite part of this episode, besides the last 5 minutes, is Adrian Vigilante meeting Adrian Vigilante and them having the same exact personality except for one exception.
Right.
And Vigilante in this universe thinks that Peacemaker is his arch enemy.
Which goes back to my theory after the first episode,
right,
where I told you that this universe has the actual like comic book representation of the characters. Like I think the Peacemaker would have been more like he was in the comics versus who he is now. Although they did keep Adrian jokey, and I do like how when he goes into his house, he goes, "My dad's not gay." Well, you find out why he's not gay because that's not really allowed in this universe.
Yeah. The ending of this show, the last 5 minutes. First of all, Harcourt gets brought by Keith. Keith finds Harcourt in the house. She's looking around Chris in this universe's bedroom, and finds Harcourt. And she's like, "Oh, Chris is at Argus. I'll take you there. I got to go there anyway. Let's go, and I'll take you and drive you there." So they're driving around, and Harcourt's looking out the window and like, "This looks weird. This is very strange." Which everybody's been saying, this universe is very white. There's something different. It's because it's all white.
Yep.
And Harcourt ends up talking to Chris. Very emotional scene when she gets detained. Oh, I forgot to talk about the cocaine scene. She gets detained because when Vigilante goes. We missed a whole section of this. We got to get back to because Vigilante's mom, in the scene with Vigilante's mom, and the whole, I can't remember the exact line about the ticks on the dick line, but it was incredible. And his interaction with his mom, it's Vigilante likes everyone, loves everyone, but he fucking hates his mother, which is great. But that scene in Vigilante's secret lair in the basement, he has all of this drug money and cocaine and heroin and fentanyl and everything.
Yep.
And it explodes and gets all over them when they open the quantum unfolding chamber. And Harcourt is covered in cocaine. So when she goes to Argus, the police dogs are sniffing her and obviously can smell the cocaine on her. So they take her in a room in the back to just make sure she doesn't have any drugs on her or she doesn't have any drugs in her system. And she has this big, huge moment with Chris where she begs him to come back to their universe. She's like, well, Chris is like, my father's here, my brother's here. This universe is for me. This is where I need to be. In Hardcore, you can just see the tears in her eyes. Like, I want you to do this for me. I don't want you to. I don't do this for me. Come back to me. She's not going to say it to him, but you can tell that's what she wants, without saying that she loves him. He said he loved her, but without her saying, you could tell in her eyes that she did. Which is a great moment in this show, right before the big epic conclusion finale. That's going to leave off to next week's episode, which is Hardcore and Chris are leaving. And the other Hardcore shows up at Argus and says, arrest her. She's an imposter. And as they're walking through the room, she's like, Chris, did you notice anything's weird about this universe? There's no people of color anywhere. And that's what we've noticed from the very beginning. The internet picked up on it a few weeks ago. And all of a sudden, you see another scene of Adebayo ads as she's walking through the neighborhood where Chris's family was walking down the street because she needed some fresh air. And she's all of a sudden, somebody is driving by and looking at her very slow, slows down the car and giving her this evil eye out of the window, some woman. And then everybody in the neighborhood is watching her and looking at her. And then Chris's brother Keith drives by in his pickup truck and slams on his brakes. And she says, over there, a black. And all the theories came true and flooded just in an instant that this is an evil universe. Cuts back to Argus. Chris picks up a flag on the desk, which in this whole entire season so far, we haven't seen any flags. They've been on the desk, but they've been turned around in a particular way so you can't see the stars and stripes, especially the stars. He looks at it, in the place where the stars were is a swastika, which we've been theorizing from the very beginning a few episodes ago that this is where the Nazis won World War II, and this is America after that. And then it flashes back, and well, first Hardcore is like, Chris, is this really? Are you happy now? Is this your perfect universe? You're kind of digging it into him, and then it flashes forward to ads being chased down by all of these white people led by Keith, and it's one of the scariest, most. It's not even graphic. It's just so strong-willed. It's just a strong ending to this episode, because it was such a heartwarming episode. The vigilante stuff, and then just took a dark, probably one of the darkest turns I've ever seen in anything. Just a gentle, dark turn like that. What? And it's just great. And leaving off next episode with the ramifications. Is Az going to be in prison? Is she going to be imprisoned? Is there a concentration camp where every black person in this America is at? Like, we don't know what's going on here. I know in the comic books, this is called Planet X or Earth X. Superman is evil in this universe. That's why I speculated earlier. We're not sure which David Cornsweet we're getting. If we do get a version of him, are we going to get the version in this universe, which could be a darker Superman? Or are we going to get him at the end saving the day? The other thing we speculated, which is taking the internet by storm, is this GI robot theory, which has gone crazy overnight. The only other mention of Nazis in this new DC universe was in Creature Commandos, when he had GI Robot saying that he wanted to kill all the Nazis. So everybody's speculating. This show does not end in episode 8 with Rick Flag Sr. getting his friend, I know a guy, getting GI Robot and sending him into this universe to save ads. A lot of people are going to be disappointed, including this guy, because that's all I could think about for the last 24 hours. I cannot wait to see where this continues. It sucks we only have 2 episodes left. And I try to tell everybody that has not seen this show to watch it. I know you probably do the same thing. It's a lot of people watch it, but I don't know. I don't think it turned off by John Cena or the whole comic book thing. It's so not that. It's a lot more than that, especially if this is definitely an example of that.
A lot of people I know just don't have HBO.
And that too, too. Or don't know how to get it for free if you have AT&T. If you do have AT&T Unlimited, and you don't have HBO, it is included in that. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best shows, if not the best show on television at the moment. And it's there's a lot of great shows, but this is definitely one of the best. And it's all led by James Gunn, who's just does an amazing job at storytelling and done it from the Guardians movies to Superman to this. And just the one thing I said about Superman when it came out, the one thing I loved about it, probably my biggest love of Superman, was how it ripped open this universe. And this has just done that tenfold because you're opening up 2 universes now. You're opening up more of the DCU universe, but you're opening up a whole other Planet X, Earth 2 universe that's all evil. And I think he's doing the multiverse better than Marvel ever could. And there's also, I wanted to mention, there's been a shift. There's been a shift in comic book movies where Marvel used to be the king. And I think James Gunn being in charge of DC was the best choice that Warner Brothers could have ever done, because the shift is definitely, the scales are turning, and DC is coming out with some better material.
Especially, I know we've talked about Warner Brothers sale potential, whatever.
Yes.
It seems like a lot of a certain segment of the fan base means not going to, get rid of Gunn and put in a certain other director to head up DC or whatever. But like, they're not thinking about like, the only people that don't seem to like James Gunn stuff is that segment. Yes. For all we know, everyone that wants to buy this wants to keep James Gunn in place because he seems pretty beloved across the industry otherwise. Yeah. It's just funny, you never see them bring that up or like take that stance, but they'll think once it gets sold, he's going to get fired, and because nobody likes James Gunn because they don't like James Gunn because his name doesn't rhyme with Ryder. Right. This show is fantastic. I've always been more of a DC guy anyways. I've always liked the fact that like it's cool that like Spider-Man takes place in New York, but I like it, it's like a completely like different like type of fantasy world where like James Gunn explained it. Yeah. Like they have Metropolis. There's no New York City. It's Metropolis, which is in right outside Kansas. Like it's more of a fantasy, and I've always liked the characters more too. As far as reading, I love the MCU, but to me the MCU is like my introduction to most Marvel characters. But yeah, going forward, I can't wait to see what DC Studios keeps cooking up. And I hope we get a shot at Lantern soon, because that show, I hope, is fucking great.
Well, we mentioned it on Twitter. Like, we are, less than a year away from Supergirl. That's the next big thing that's coming out. Is Lanterns going to be
Lantern's going to be first.
Spring? Okay, so Lanterns will be the next thing.
Because somebody asked him the release order, and they put, like, Lanterns before Supergirl, and he said... Okay. That's the way James listed it, and he said, yep, that's the release order. So I'm assuming Lanterns will be like Supergirl's in June. So Lanterns will probably start in maybe late February, early March is my guess. Do 2 months there, then the end of the June will come Supergirl. That's just a guess. But I'm pretty sure Lanterns will be out before Supergirl.
Has he mentioned anything about season 3 of this show? Now that they're kind of back on the...
Somebody asked, and his response was, well, you have to see the end of season 2 first.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. What happens with Chris at the end? You don't know. So
he might also be like, put the cart before the horse. Like we still have to get through this season to, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely critically acclaimed. Fans are loving it. And the internet speculation. Same thing happened with WandaVision. Everybody, the week-to-week thing with WandaVision. I think this is tenfold in speculations.
With Marvel too.
That
was like week to week. It was just every week was Mephisto talk.
new theories, new speculations, and this had that tenfold. It still has that because we're hoping for G.I. Robot at the end, which would be the tip of the iceberg for the scales of
live action G.I. Robot would be awesome.
Oh my god,
killing Nazis.
It would be incredible. Yes,
and maybe Chris has to kill his brother, and G.I. Robot kills his dad in the alternate universe or something.
Or he just goes in to save Ads. Like if Ads is in jail, if she's imprisoned. I
mean, Peacemaker will be there too, so I think that they'll probably send G.I. Robot in with Rick Flag, and Rick Flag's going to try to get Peacemaker to take him back to Earth 1, as we'll call it, and send G.I. Robot to save Ads. I don't know. Anything could happen.
Yeah,
anything could happen.
Because the trailer for next week shows them escaping through the quantum unfolding chamber, but they're being chased by somebody in the other universe. Speculation being probably his father and his brother, Chris's brother. I just
don't see Peacemaker leaving that dimension without Ads to begin with. But you never know, if they're being chased, they might have to. So, and then they have to. Then they maybe go back to Robot or something. Or...
We need to go back. Right, we need to go back. And he's like, Rick Flag's like, you can't go back. You're under arrest. But Ads is over there. It's an evil universe. We need to save her. And he's like, I know a guy. That's how my fantasy mind works of how I want to stand. So.
And like for the record, just let you know, I do not watch the sneak peek for the next episode just because I want to be as fresh as possible. But I do see stuff on Twitter. Okay. So I get screenshots on Twitter. So I try not to. It's like trailer ads. I try not to. I'm like, I don't have to wait a week.
Oh, what a whirlwind last night, though. Yeah. I know you've seen the episode a couple times since then, right? So, yeah, it's just a remarkable episode. Great show. Everybody watch it. It's on HBO Max. Every Thursday night, 2 more episodes left, so it's definitely worth the watch. It's very poignant. We talk about this on the podcast all the time. There's always something that connects us to what we're talking about, what we're watching. When you came up with this Watchmen watch a couple months ago, we had no idea the connection of what is going to happen with Peacemaker and everything connected to the Charlton characters.
We really picked a good time to do this Watchmen watch, considering it's the anniversary of Watchmen and Peacemaker is technically in Watchmen, but not really.
So much speculation with the Watchmen characters. We're going to get into it. This Watchmen graphic novel is where we're ending this off this month.
Oh, good.
Came out in 1986, 1987, 12 issues. And they all came out from characters created by Alan Moore. But when DC acquired the Charlton comic run, which was from 1945 to 1986, they were in print. They ended up selling all of their characters to DC's Comics for $5,000 per character, pretty much. And that includes the main big guys, which we're going to get into. But their main focus of how their popularity was in Silver Age, mid 60, like 65, 66, and that's where Blue Beetle took a big part of it. That's where Peacemaker became a big thing. But they only became a big thing for a few years. And the other reason why they became big, in the mid 60s, Steve Ditko, who created Spider-Man with Stan Lee, he did all the art for it. Steve Ditko left Marvel on a bad term pretty much because of Stan Lee. And he ends up leaving Marvel and going over to Charlton and creates a lot of characters, including Captain Atom, who is the depiction of. Well, let me get into it right here. I made this little slide here last week of the Charlton characters on the left, the Watchmen characters on the right, and who they represent in the story. Like Thunderbolt is Ozymandias, who we haven't seen in any DC stories yet. Captain Atom, created by Steve Ditko, is Dr. Manhattan. There's a comic book we read in the Watchmen series. We're going to get into it at the end, but he does show up in that. And Blue Beetle, probably the biggest, besides Peacemaker now, before this, probably the biggest character to come out of the Charlton cast of characters. Alan Moore made that character Night Owl. And I can't read that. Nightshade was Silk Spectre. And The Question, who you always talk about, is Rorschach. And Peacemaker is the comedian. Those are all the characters that Alan Moore created. Alan Moore originally had a proposal to include all the Charlton characters in the Watchmen. That was going to be his story, but he's going to end up killing a lot of them. And the editor at the time at DC told him, make new characters, take those characters, kind of base them off of that, but keep the Charlton characters. We want to use them later on, but create your own characters. And that's where the Watchmen characters came from. And the Charlton characters were later incorporated into the DC universe during Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. So they did end up bringing him into the universe. And of course, the Peacemaker part of this all is Peacemaker was one of the big characters that was brought in. And Judo Master is another character in the show that was part of the Charlton library. So there is a connection there, and we've been speculating for a while with Peacemaker that one of these, and even James Gunn has talked about it through interviews. People had asked him, are there going to be other Charlton characters showing up in Peacemaker? And it's like, keep your eye out. Maybe there could be possible. The big speculation has always been Blue Beetle being the big one. The Cord guy, I can never remember his name. What's his first name? Cord, Blue Beetle.
Ted Cord.
Ted Cord. Being the character that they actually bring into the series, but and I know you really want the Question to be a part of this universe too. So
I want the Question. I want a TV series or something with the Question. Yeah.
But basically, this came out in 1986, 1987, 12 issues. And these are all the issues of the first Watchmen run. Dave Gibbons did the art for them. These are all the cover arts for the 12 issues. And we've talked about the Watchmen. I don't get into the story specifics of it, but we're going to get into some differences between the comics and the movies. And the animated movies we watched a couple weeks ago was very close to what this comic was.
Very close.
Rorschach's mask is explained more in this, how it was from a dress that had this weird like latex in it. It had this fluid in it that changed every time you moved the fabric. That was this. And in the comic book and in the animated movie, Rorschach was more gritty, more dirty. His psychiatrist played a bigger role in the comic book. Explored later on in Doomsday Clock, which we're going to get into in a minute. Tales of the Black Freighter. We hated the animated part of the Snyder Cut, but that's a big, huge part of the comic book as well. The Hollis Mason murdered in this book scene does not happen in the movie, but it is a deleted scene that James Gunn took out, which I think was a mistake. I think he should have kept it in there. But the big difference of the comic book to the movie is the extra-dimensional giant squid, which we've talked a lot about the last couple of weeks, where instead of having Ozymandias have this nuclear showdown with the world, he ends up sending this extra-dimensional giant squid in the middle of New York City, who creates millions and millions of lives are lost, creates a big, huge uproar around the world where everybody kind of has to gather together because of that squid, and ends the world's war and everything. Very strange how the comic book it worked in the comic book. I understand why Zack Snyder went with the nuclear deterrent part of it, and also the Dr. Manhattan part of it. I understand why he did all that for the movie wise, and it worked in the movie for me. Giant Squid worked in the comic book for me, so I didn't have any problem with either one. But I kind of get where Alan Moore's head is at with that. Moore stated in 1985, if the limited series of The Watchmen was successful and well received, he and Gibbons would possibly create a 12-issue prequel series called Minutemen, featuring the 1940 superhero group from that story. DC offered Moore and Gibbons chances to publish prequels to the series, such as Rorschach's Journal, the comedian's Vietnam War Diary. Eventually, Alan Moore lost interest. And also, DC was offering to bring in other creators to finish the story and continue the story. He wanted no part of that, to fill in the gaps of the world. He wanted no part of that. So he kind of lost touch with DC at that time. And right around the time that Zack Snyder's movie came out, DC came back and offered him the rights back to The Watchmen. And he says if he did, in turn, all they asked him to do was create prequels and sequels to The Watchmen. He ends up turning DC down about 15 years ago, saying they were about 10 years too late, and he just lost complete interest in all of those stories. He was done with The Watchmen. And probably a bad taste from the Snyder film, I'm guessing. Part of it, I don't know. He talks a lot about how he does not like the movies. We've talked about it before and all that. Any adaptation of his work. Yep. So DC greenlights before Watchmen. This came out in 2012. The first prequel series to come out, the first other story other than The Watchmen. Before Watchmen was 37 issues. And each issue, each character had multiple issues. So you had Dr. Manhattan had 4 issues, Ozymandias had 4 issues, Comedian, so on and so forth. Those are, I believe, the first covers of each one. And there was the Minutemen one I like a lot because it looks a lot like Golden Age comic art. And I hear that's a great series too. But there's 37 issues total. There is an omnibus to this.
Maybe next year.
But next year is the actual anniversary.
Exactly.
And I do have it now, by the way.
Okay.
But there was no involvement from Alan Moore or Dave Gibbons on this at all. They had no part of it. This is all DC. This might have been right either during or right before the New 52 started. But those are all the covers for that, which leads us into 5 years later, 2017. They want to do a proper sequel to The Watchmen, but they also want to bridge it into the DC universe, and that brings us to Doomsday Clock. This came out 12 issues from 2017 to 2019, and it was a big, huge crossover event with the Watchmen characters and the DC universe, including a big, huge cameo with Superman throughout the whole entire thing. Basically, the story is, at the end of The Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan leaves the universe, and we're not sure. He said, I'm going to go to another universe. Not sure where he's going. He ends up going to the DC universe because he's so enamored with all the superheroes there, including the biggest superhero of all, Superman. And that's who he's enamored with in this meta. He calls it the metaverse. And I know this, maybe you know more about the rebirth, the DC rebirth era, where everything got, after the New 52, everything got restructured again in rebirth. Can you give a little background? Because this came out during that time where they were rebirthing the universe of DC Comics. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not too sure.
More than,
I wasn't.
Yeah, I don't either.
In 2012. So it's hard for me to say. That was when I wasn't really reading a lot. I recently got back into it, of course, in the last 2 years. So
right, yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not sure.
The only thing I know is it was a rebirth of the creatives and the character creations and what the characters looked like in the universe. A lot like what Crisis did in the 80s is what I've kind of gathered.
Some of them kept some of their backstory and some changed. Everything changed with, I believe the Flashpoint was the first one that reset everything.
Yes.
And then from there, they all branched out. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Flashpoint there was one comic series during that time before this where the Watchmen characters were actually a part of the DC universe. The first time you saw the Watchmen, I can't remember what it was. It may have been Flashpoint, it could have been something else. But set 7 years after the original series, Doomsday Clock, 1992, and set in this DC Rebirth comic universe. We don't know much about it, but it's basically Dr. Manhattan over in the other universe. And he sees Superman, he's enamored by him, and he just wants to study him. And that's basically what the 12 issues are. Don't want to get into particulars of it, but I do want to get into this piece of art. We just talked about it. The first time we've actually seen the Charlton characters, these are all the covers, by the way. The first time we see all the Charlton characters show up in a Watchmen comic is right here. We see the Question, we see Blue Beetle fighting on Mars with Dr. Manhattan, which is really cool. And we also see him fighting with Captain Atom or whatever his name is. So yeah, really, really cool to see that. I just want to have that. And that's pretty much the only art I have from it. But overall, not as good as the Watchmen story, of course. This is a whole other creative team. It's still good. I mean, it's a good side Superman story.
Jeff Johns wrote it, so of course it's going to be at least good. He doesn't really write about comics, so.
I hear a better comic series came out in 2020, 2021.
Yes.
Is the Rorschach solo series.
And
here's
why
the cover to that.
This? I don't know. It's Tom King and Rorschach, so I have no idea why I haven't read it.
I also have this as well. So if we want to do this for the 40th next year, let's do it. But Rorschach, 12 issues as well. And yeah, just a solo series, I believe, leading up to the Watchmen, kind of his solo prequel. So
I love Rorschach.
So yeah, I do too. Probably my favorite character of the movies. Going into the comics, I think they did a better job with Dr. Manhattan in the comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, that's our talk for the Watchmen. And next year, I think we should dive into those two the two things we haven't tackled this year, with Beyond Watchmen or Before Watchmen and the Rorschach solo series. Maybe next year, who knows? We may have another series of Watchmen too, because with it being the 40th anniversary, they always want to do some sort of anniversary issue with DC. So maybe they'll do a new series, but who knows? I haven't seen any rumors of it or not. But.
Right.
So that's the Watchmen. Thank you everybody for listening to us for this month on the Watchmen Watch. And with that being said, let's get into the news. Lots of trailers of the trailer round. First trailer. I am shocked that this came out. I forgot this movie was even happening. But Mandalorian and Grogu. This looked like a television show on the big screen. It
looks trash. Why didn't they just do one final season or a movie for Disney? It doesn't look very good. Poster looks very. I like the art on the poster.
Retro 1950s style poster looks really cool. But yeah, it comes out May 22nd. I kind of was surprised it came out this week, because I forgot it was even coming out. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. Lots of explosions, but it looks like just an extended TV show. That's what it looks like. So, got a brand new trailer for Wicked for Good. This comes out November 21st. I think this came out just a few days ago, but I cannot wait for this. A lot of spoilers in this trailer for characters that you saw in the first Wicked, and this is basically Wicked Part 2 is the story of the Wizard of Oz, as Dorothy coming to Oz. And a lot of the characters, some of the characters that were introduced in the first Wicked movie become big Oz characters. And there was a spoiler or two in the trailer for that, but I don't want to get into it because I know you're not into the spoilers too much about that. But do have some behind the scenes looks of that movie as well. And there's the house that falls on the Wicked Witch of the East.
Didn't they like show the Tin Man or one of them in one of the sneak peeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Tin Man is the big spoiler that they showed. Okay. He's a character from the first Wicked movie, and ends up turning into the Tin Man. But
okay,
I don't want to get into the big spoiler. But yeah, cannot wait for that. Got a brand new trailer for It. Welcome to Derry.
This looks
great. Yeah, directed all by what's his name who did the movies.
Muschietti.
Yeah, Muschietti did the whole entire series too. So cannot wait for that. Love It. One of my more recent horror loves. I didn't get into it till probably the last 10 years. Well, I watched the Tim Curry one.
The first one, well, not the Tim Curry one. The Tim Curry one's good. But the first, 2018 was it?
2018, 17, 18. Yeah.
That movie is fucking great. The sequel, not so much because they felt the need to include the kids too much. I feel like, and they also spent way too much time on the token section. But the first it's almost a perfect adaptation of the Stephen King novel, of the kids' years of the Stephen King novel.
The ending of It is always strange with the alien reveal anyway. So I was always wondering how that was going to happen in the second part of that movie.
The joke with Stephen King novels in general is that he doesn't know how to end stories.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Another trailer. This movie's coming out March 6th, called The Bride, directed by Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yep. And Jake is in this, but Christian Bale plays Frankenstein's monster.
Yep.
And Jessie Buckley, I don't know who she is. I don't know what other movies she's been, but she's playing the Bride of Frankenstein. And this is all about the Bride of Frankenstein. And Frankenstein looks like a more modern day tale. Modern day setting. So yeah, I don't know more about it other than the trailer, and seeing just Christian Bale being Christian Bale was great. We haven't seen him in much recently, so kind of cool. I'm more excited for the other one that's on Netflix in a couple weeks.
The Del Toro one.
That's
it's weird that they're doing this again because Del Toro did this with fucking Pinocchio. There was 2 Pinocchios that came out within a certain amount of time. Del Toro did one of them, and the other one was whoever. But yeah, interesting.
Hollywood always does that though. Whenever there's something, there's always another green light.
Volcano and Dante's Peak came out within the same year.
The 90s
volcanoes, yeah.
The night and Armageddon. The 90s is big on the disaster.
Yeah, the guy that directed the Will Smith one, Independence Day. That guy, that's all he does is movies like that. And everyone just copied his shit at the end of the 90s. World-ending type stuff.
Yep. And the last trailer this week, I forgot this movie was coming out too. I'm not as interested in Avatar as a lot of people are, but Fire and Ash, we got a full trailer. It's basically the Na'vi in another part of the world that are all built out of a volcano and all fire and ash and everything.
These movies, I'm always interested in the technical aspects of the movies. Like the story is the stories of all these are pretty damn basic. I mean, Avatar 1 was basically every James Cameron story rolled into one. Avatar 2 is kind of a couple they kind of left out of the first one. So Waterworld and The Abyss, it was much more inspired by his Abyss movie than the first one. But this should be good because my favorite scene of any of them in 3D was seeing the very first Avatar by the campfire and the ambers falling on you in 3D. It felt like you were literally at the campfire. And this entire thing is going to be in a world of fire and ash, so it's going to look fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, IMAX 3D. I wish we had an IMAX closer. IMAX 3D is the best movie experience I ever had. Besides the 4DX Rogue One, IMAX 3D in the first Avatar movie. I think I saw an IMAX 3D twice. That's how good it was. And the technology is just not that good for other movies, but for some reason James Cameron did an amazing job with Avatar. But and the thing about Avatar is there's 5 movies coming out, and everyone's gonna be set for like almost like Captain Planet powers. Like you got Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, Heart, and like you mentioned, I think maybe we talked about it, or somebody else talked about it. The fifth movie being set on Earth. Did we talk about that? Like they're going, like if they do a fifth, we talked about it maybe last week.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome to see what happens if the Na'vi end up going to Earth. Would it be an invasion? Would it be like war happening? Like what would happen on Earth and all these
I think
people
they would take over the planet and live there, to be honest. So
I think they would too, yeah.
Could be a war.
Yeah, I think they would too.
And then Jake kind of gets caught in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, if they took over the whole entire army barracks and everything that's on Na'vi or whatever this world is called, what is this world
Panama.
called? I can't remember.
Panama. Or Pandora.
Pandora, yeah. If they take over the whole entire army and all the spaceships and everything, I could see Jake leading the army to Earth. That would be amazing. But
it could be a great alien invasion movie for sure.
Yeah. Kind of a weak box office, kind of still timid, but number one of the box office last weekend was Demon Slayer, another number one movie, 17.3 million. Him debuted, getting horrible reviews, starring Marlon Wayans, but debuted at number 2, 13.5, and Conjuring the Last Rites was third week in the box office for 12.9 million.
Remember, Jordan Peele lost the rights. He was trying to get weapons under his production company, lost those rights, fired his management, then signed up to produce him instead. He's got to be pissed. He's got to be pissed.
Yeah. I'm hearing horrible things about it, but Netflix, talk about the business of Hollywood. Netflix reportedly preparing to bid on Warner Brothers as well. We talked about who was the other company?
Paramount.
That was
I want Paramount. I want Paramount to buy it because
Netflix. Yeah, Netflix doesn't seem to have long-term plans for anything.
I mean,
they just have one and done.
They would buy it solely for the library, and who knows what they would do with the IP. I'm sure they would use the IP, but we wouldn't see any of it in theaters. We wouldn't see, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't be able to buy any on 4K. Like, could you imagine getting DC content and not going to the theater for it? That would kill the brand. That would kill the fucking brand.
Yeah.
Or Harry Potter.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, Netflix is not a good fit. It would have to be somebody that had enough money and it had the had the right mindset to go to theaters. So.
Yeah.
Disney Plus. The streaming prices gotta stop going up. Prices for Disney Plus went up this week. Standard for Disney Plus was $9.99. Started at $6.99 just a few years ago, and it jumped up $2 this week to $11.99. The premium with no ads was $15.99, jumped up $3 to $18.99. So the bundle deals are obviously a better buy, but $18.99 for one streaming service is kind of crazy. That's like a third of what we paid for cable 10 years ago. So that's kind of nuts. Sleepaway Camp. Surprising news. Going to be reimagined.
Saw this and had to send it to you. Insane.
It's insane. The person that's behind it is Kenan Thompson from SNL and all the Nickelodeon shows back when he was a kid. His production company is in charge of remaking the slasher classic that we watched just a few years ago, Sleepaway
Classic.
Camp. Right. Classic for obvious reasons. It's going to be interesting to do that in this climate.
I was going to say, how are they going to do that twist?
You're right. It'd be interesting to see how they do that. But yeah, Kenan Thompson's in charge of that. Also in charge of a Macho Man biopic. He announced that this week as well. Set to produce that the casting of that could be nuts. I don't even know an actor
Jay
right
Lethal.
now who could play Macho. Right, like who could play?
Do it?
Who could play Macho Man right now and actually get that voice down and that whole entire character down? I don't know. But yeah. And Zach Cregger, we talk about Weapons all the time, how great that movie is. The one complaint that a lot of people have about that movie is there was no backstory to the big spoiler, which I don't want to get into yet because a lot of people still have not seen this movie, which need to see it. But the character, I don't even want to say the name of the character. I don't want to say anything about it.
There's a character in the movie that they want to do a backstory on.
Yes, and it's there. And Zach Cregger is actually, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago this was going to happen, but Zach Cregger is going to be in charge of it. He plans to direct it. It's going to be a prequel to this character. It says it's real. I've been talking to Warner Brothers about it. There's a story, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's not bullshit. If he's in charge of it, it changes my idea of this completely. Because this is, from what I heard this week, this was already part of the story of Weapons that he had to cut out to make the movie 2 hours. This is already something he's written. He already had the background done, but it just couldn't work in this story. So this is already stuff he's written. He's
it kind of reminds me of
to a movie.
It kind of reminds me of when what's his name was doing X, and he came up with a small backstory for Pearl, and then during the filming of X, wrote out the entire backstory of Pearl. He never filmed it or anything, and then they ended up making the prequel to X as Pearl. Kind of reminds me of that situation. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I like Zach Cregger a lot. Him and Jordan Peele are two of the up and comers in horror right now. So
Mike Flanagan is my favorite. The three, you're right. Those three creators are really cool.
Yeah. Right
now. So yeah, cannot wait to see where that continues. I don't think we'll ever see a sequel. I think the story of Weapons ended perfectly.
Agreed.
There is a big gap there that needs to be filled, and I think this is the perfect way of doing it. Speaking of gaps needing to be filled, Denis Villeneuve, who's going to be doing the next Bond movie, is talking about he's going to be starting soon the casting process for an unknown Brit actor.
Good.
Did confirm it's going to be a Brit actor.
Good.
But he's going to do it when Dune 3 completes. So that's
Unknown
currently
makes
filming.
Me excited.
Unknown young actor in the 20s, 30s. They want to keep this franchise going for a while. They're not going to cast somebody in their 40s who's going to do 3 movies and be done. They want to keep this going, keep this character going with one actor for a while, which is understandable. Even how old was Daniel Craig when he started? Probably
he was old.
Late 30s, early 40s.
I think he was
early 40s. You think?
He might have been like 38 when he was signed on, but I think he was like 40 or 41 when it came out. I can't remember. He was older. The oldest when cast was Roger Moore was.
Yeah.
Was he 55 when they cast him as Bond? I think he was old.
Oh, I have no idea.
He was like that old when they cast him as Bond. He was like 50 or 55. I feel
Connery had to be in 30s.
Connery was 31. Connery was 31.
Okay, yes. So yeah.
Pierce was like 32, 33, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on this. He's going to be filming all of Dune 3 first, so it'll be a while. It'll be a couple of years before we see any news on this, but it is good, refreshing news to hear that it's going to be a Brit, going to be an unknown young actor. So it kind of puts a lot of fan speculation on who they want to play Bond out of the picture.
I think
like Idris and like Aaron Taylor Johnson.
And I think Cavill. But
Cavill,
the thing
all out of the picture.
I think Aaron Taylor had I think he was going to be Bond until they had to because they didn't get Denny final cut, so they probably gave up their choice and let him cast Bond. Is my guess is what happened.
Right.
It did seem like he was pretty much cast as Bond.
Yeah. In the sequel to The Social Network, news came out today. The official title of this sequel is called The Social Reckoning. Going to hit theaters on October 9th of 2026, a year from now. It's going to star Jeremy Strong from Succession. He's going to be playing Mark Zuckerberg this time. And Mikey Madison, who was in Honor last year. And Jeremy Allen White and Bill Burr, part of the cast as well. Very interesting. I love Social Network. I know you do too. Andrew
Social
Garfield. Network
is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
Sorkin is one of the greatest writers of all time, and he's directing this sequel. And of course, it was directed by Fincher, the first one. So I'm nervous, but also can't wait to see what this is going to be.
Yeah, because Fincher's currently doing the Quentin movie, right? The second sequel to that. Yeah, for Netflix. Is that TV show or a movie? That's a TV show.
It's a movie. No, it's a movie.
Okay. Wow. And Denise Gao has been cast in Greta Gerwig's Narnia film. You don't know the name, but in Andor, the Star Wars show, she was the woman that worked for the Empire. That was I can't remember. She worked under Krennic. She kind of had that love story with that one guy that worked for the Empire as well, the pencil pusher there. But yeah, she was been cast in the Narnia film that's coming out on Netflix. So I saw that today. The other casting news I saw today is Drew McIntyre. is going to be in the wrestler is going to be in the Highlander reboot, playing the brother to Henry Cavill's character. So yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, he's Scottish. Makes perfect
He
sense.
can help with the stunts.
Okay. Got a picture from Frankenstein. Oh, I guess I did not put that in here. Maybe I did. Did I skip a picture?
Nope.
I did skip a picture. Shit. We won't talk about that, but it is a picture of Frankenstein's monster from the Del Toro movie. And it looks like he's dissecting a human body on the desk. Did not put that on there.
Maya Goth. Is that Maya Goth? That's Maya Goth.
It is. Yep, you're right.
And, what's his name?
On the screen, if you're on YouTube, is the very first picture of the cast of Spaceballs 2 with a slate, a Hollywood slate that says Spaceballs slate. I wish I have a picture of it. Maybe I'll hold it off till next week. I got something Spaceballs related. Yes, that's going to be my show and tell next week. I just remembered. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, Spaceballs. It's the whole entire cast, including right in the middle, Rick Moranis. And on the table in the middle is Mel Brooks on the computer. And all of the characters, it looks like everybody but John Candy, who's not alive anymore, is coming back for this movie, and that's everybody's there, including the guy that works second to Dark Helmet, and Lone Star is there, and the woman that marries Lone Star, I can't remember her name, who's from Druidia. I cannot wait for this movie. I love Spaceballs. I love Spaceballs before Star Wars. That's how close I am to. That's how close I am to that franchise. My favorite Mel Brooks movie. I love Spaceballs. It's my favorite spoof movie. I just love everything about it. It hit me right in the nostalgia, and this is probably one of those reboots that I'm going to watch in the theater. I cannot wait.
What if it comes out on your birthday?
That would be even better. Except I miss my favorite musical. Yeah. I missed my favorite musical of all time on my birthday, and that was Hamilton. So
yes,
I think Spaceballs 2 would definitely bring me to the theater though. Xbox Series X rising the prices in America. Original price for a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S was $429, jumping up $20, $449. The biggest price jump is the Xbox Series S disc version, which is $599, jumping up $50 to $649. So console prices are going way up. All have to do with tariff prices and everything coming in from other countries, from Japan or wherever these are manufactured. So manufacturing prices have gone way up. So yeah, it's crazy. The Switch 2, like we mentioned, is $500 with the bonus game of Mario Kart, which is a lot of money for a Nintendo. I think it's the most expensive Nintendo system they ever put out. Especially when the OLED seems to be a better system as far as looks wise if you're into the portable game.
Yep.
But yeah, crazy time to be a video game. Speaking of video games, there was a PlayStation State of Play that came out a couple days ago. They announced 2 games that I want to talk about. First one, we talked about it a few months ago, was the Halloween video game coming out September of next year. It's going to include online multiplayer, which you said was in the Friday the 13th game.
That's all the Friday the 13th was, and
right.
I wanted a single player like we're getting in this one.
But we are getting that in this one. Yeah. The difference in this game is you can play not only from the point of view of being chased by Michael Myers, your town folk being chased, you have to survive, but you also can play from the POV of Michael Myers himself, and you get all the supernatural powers of Michael Myers.
That was the Friday the 13th game. Was that too? Is when you enter a lobby, one person would be selected to be Jason, and everyone else would select a camp counselor.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, similar concept, but it looks like they're like giving Michael Myers these like abilities he never had in the movies. So that's interesting.
Well, they're making it supernatural, where he just shows up randomly behind people, but they make it so you can kind of like a shadow, like a ghostly figure flying through the world, which is kind of cool. Looking at the trailer for this,
yeah,
the other big trailer, which I was so excited when this came out, was the Wolverine game is finally happening. We got some brand new first looks of that. Him fighting Sentinel at the very end of it looks awesome. Omega Red, you see Mystique in the trailer. him just lots and lots of blood. This reminds me, remember when the Wolverine game came out like 20 years ago?
Yeah,
it was lots of blood
game.
and gore.
Yeah,
lots of blood and gore, and everybody loves that game because it's just the way it was, just a lot of limbs flying off. This reminds me of that, so very excited. This comes out next fall, so we're gonna get GTA 6 in the spring, hopefully. This in September, October. We're gonna get the Halloween game sometime next October too. Lots of cool games next year, so that's kind of cool. Let's get into some swag.
Swag. Stuff we all get.
Come on, son. You know that's right.
Got some pop figures. We got Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter with the Phoenix above him. We also got a whole run of Muppets. The Muppet Show, the Muppets. We got Kermit, the banjo on the log from the movie. We got Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy. We got Gonzo. We got the two guys, Waldorf and Statler, up in the balcony from the Muppet Show. Really, really cool pop figures. I want to bring that up. This came out today. This is a Hot Toys figure from the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four movie with what's his name? His likeness. I can't remember think of his name off the top of my head. But it comes with the flames and everything. Looks really, really cool. And I just love Hot Toys. I always want to bring that up because it just looks so good. At LA Comic-Con, they're going to have an AI Stan Lee hologram and talking to guests as they walk through the halls of the Comic-Con. There's a picture of it right there on screen. I know they're doing the AI everything right now, which is kind of weird, but I didn't want to bring that up. Tom Holland. Don't want to bring that up yet. Tom Holland suffered a concussion on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day, pausing the filming for a week, picking up again on Monday, supposedly. No delay in release or anything, so it's only a week. Speaking of that, they added to the cast. Coming to the cast is a character playing Tombstone, Marvin Jones III. The only other, I've seen him in a whole bunch of other stuff. The only other comic book thing I know he's been in is Black Lightning, which I didn't get into on the CW. He was a villain in one of the seasons of that, but yeah, he is an albino actor playing an albino character, so that's kind of cool. And Marvel news this week, there was a leak on the set of Avengers, or after, I guess they stopped filming, they finished filming of that, and they were giving out these guest bags with art from the movie and all the characters from the movie on the side of it, including a very first look of what Doctor Doom's going to look like on the far left corner and some other characters. We also see some X-Men characters, including James Marston as Cyclops with a comic-accurate suit. We see Gambit there. We see Mystique. We see a lot of characters from Marvel. We see all the Fantastic Four characters. I'm excited for this movie. I was thinking of it today. I think I'm excited more for Supergirl just because that universe is just brand new, wide open. I am excited for this. I love the Russos. I love what they've done with all the Avengers since then. So as they started, so cool. Also had another leak. I want to bring this up because I'm not sure if it's real or not, but the supposedly behind the scenes look of characters from Doomsday, including Robert Downey. Some makeup tests by the looks of it. And finally in news, the biggest news of the week in the DC side of things is James Gunn posted this on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere, the final script to Man of Tomorrow with the innards of someone's head, including their brain, written by James Gunn, a full draft of draft 2 of Man of Tomorrow. Speculation, of course, running rampant, and you see a guy's brain and you're thinking Brainiac. Didn't go all out and say that, but speculation, of course, on the internet picked that up immediately when they saw inside this guy's brain and saw this guy's head. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, and that's where we are for the show. That's it this week. Next week, brand new month, we're gonna talk about Show and Tell, Peacemaker episode 7, the penultimate episode. Only Murders. I didn't talk about this week's episode. I may wait until the season's over to see, and we'll talk about that. Gen V episode 5. A movie came out today on Apple TV Plus by Brett Goldstein called All of You. Kind of a sci-fi kind of movie where somebody finds their soulmate through a test. We talked about it a couple months ago when the trailer came out. It did come out on Apple TV today. I'm going to try to watch that this weekend. But the month of October got a lot of movies. Number one, it's Halloween month. Kevin curates all the movies that I watch, Halloween movies. We talked about a few off pod. I know the one that I want to watch this month is They Live with Roddy Piper. Never
They
saw
Live.
that.
Yep. And first one we'll watch is Barbarian.
Yeah, Barbarian is the one that I've been wanting to watch ever since Weapons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'm gonna watch
I
those back to
mentioned-
back and see how I feel about them. Because I know right now I have Barbarian slightly ahead of Weapons, so we'll see. I'm gonna watch Weapons again and watch Barbarian.
I know I mentioned Parasite to you. It's like it was been voted like the best movie of the last millennium so far.
It's fucking great.
Together is another movie we held off for October. That's the one with Dave Franco, Dave Franco and his real life wife from Community. And Smile 1 and 2. I know we talked about it. I don't know if you wanted to do that or switch up something in here or not for horror movies, but I could also throw that in there as well because it's basically all we're going to watch is horror movies next month. So
okay.
there's other movies you can think of. Yeah,
I really didn't. Smile 1's okay. Smile 2 has a really good opening scene, then sucks.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
On October 3rd, The Smashing Machine with The Rock comes out. On the 7th, the No Escape From Now documentary about Ozzy Osbourne comes out on Paramount Plus. On the 10th, Tron Ares comes out. I'm probably going to go to the movies and see that. I did cancel my Regal Unlimited, but I'm going to go to see that because I got to see that on the big screen. But also on that day, the John Candy documentary, which I've been looking forward to ever since I first heard of it, I Like Me, comes out on Amazon Prime. On the 17th, Good Fortune with Keanu Reeves, Seth Rogen, Kumail Nanjiani, I think he was in that. And on the 26th, the series Welcome to Derry comes out on HBO. So lots of cool TV debuts next month. Some great movies as well. And we're all Halloween all the time next month, ending with the first premiere episode of Welcome to Derry at the end of the month. So that's going to lead right up to Christmas. That's going to be interesting. So yeah, very, very cool. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Watch along with Peacemaker. That's the one thing that everybody has homework that listens to this podcast or watches us anywhere. Watch Peacemaker. Follow along with us. It's a great watch on Thursday nights. And the speculation and theories are awesome. So that's why we're here. We all love to geek out about shit like this. So thank you, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week.
Peace.
We're the Geek Blurb crew, here to enlighten you. Talking all things geeky, from movies to wrestling to our podcast is the place where you wanna be for all the latest news and nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. We review comic book flicks and sci-fi hits, riding the wave of action movies with all the cool bits. From Iron Man to Star Wars, we cover it all. And when it comes to wrestling, we never drop the ball. Geek Blurb, we're the kings of the nerds, rating movies and pineapples, our opinions never blurred. Join us each week for a geeky chat with the latest scoop and a dose of nostalgia that. So if you're a fan of the comic book craze, or a lover of sci-fi and all its maze, tune in to Geek Blurb. We're here to entertain, bringing you the best in geekdom. It's our domain.